Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Way of Life. I'm your host, Gus Holland. Today, we are going back over strength training advice. Before I showed you how to do a beginner program for a strength training athlete. Today, we're going to go kind of more of an advanced approach. Going to cover correct amount of fluid intake and a little bit of supplemental use. That's kind of what I've been realized I was leaving out on some of my previous programming and training episodes, but we're going to touch base on that. But really, just to get into it, the difference between the beginner and the advanced strength training programs, it's primarily going to be an increase in training volume and expanding your exercise selection. So what that means is I gave some pretty basic exercise examples to incorporate into your programming. These might be a little bit more complex, or for somebody that's a little bit more versed, I guess, with it within the gym. So you're less likely to get injured if you have more experience, obviously. I mean, most of the time. So some of these exercises, it's kind of like once you've already completed, like you've got bracing and breath control, and you've got your stretching and everything, and you've kind of already know some programming basics and stuff like that, so that's what advanced means. So if you're not there yet, that's okay. Go back to the beginner episode, which was, I think 2 episodes ago, and start there. And if that's too advanced, start with less, obviously we don't want anybody to get hurt. We want positive life changes. And yeah, so anyways, back into advanced version of a strength training program. You're going to stick to that 2 to 5 minute rest window, depending on how many sets you're doing. So if you're doing 2 to 3 sets, I would say like 2 to 3 minute rest period. If you're doing 3 to 5 sets, I would say you expand that to have a 2 to 5 minute rest period. So that mainly is really just to let your muscles recuperate before hitting the next set, or the next exercise, so that you don't it prevents injury a little bit, but it also prevents you from getting gassed out throughout your workout. A lot of these workouts, especially for the advanced group, are going to be anywhere between 45-minute and 2-hour workouts, depending on how complex you make it. And if you add in any extra stuff, such as like an extended amount of cardio, extended stretching, what have you, or if you're, training with a partner, that's going to extend it as well. It's going to be safer because you have a spotter, but you should always have a spotter, but training with somebody kind of guarantees that you have a spotter for every exercise. So anyways, this is going to be a 3, 4, and 5 day splits is what I'm going to cover again. Like I said, the difference is the volume and the exercise variation. So for the 3-day split, it is going to be very similar to the beginner 3-day split, if you listen to that episode. But what we are doing here is, for the most part, is consolidating these days more, so there's less overlap. So for like day 1, you do like 1 back exercise, a couple shoulder, 1 chest, 1 arm, right? So that's a total of 5 exercises, you're going to be doing, the same amount of sets for the most part, except your last 2 exercises, which would be one shoulder and one arm. You're going to increase the amount of sets by 1, and you're keeping the reps the same, and same amount of rest as well. So as an example, horizontal row, 2 sets of 6 to 8. Shoulder press can be on a machine. It can be dumbbell. You can even just grab like a plate, like a 45 pound or whatever plate you feel comfortable with, but some form of shoulder press. And you're going to do 2 sets of 6 to 8. And both of those exercises, you're going to have 3 to 4 minute rest. You're going to have a controlled tempo. Then you'll do a bench press, whether that is barbell, dumbbell, incline, decline, it does not matter. It's more based on your preference and what you're trying to target. And just, I don't know if I've even covered this, but this is kind of goes back to the beginner stage, but decline, any type of decline is going to target lower chest. Incline targets upper chest. Flat bench targets like overall, but primarily like in the middle of your chest. Same goes with flies, like dumbbell flies. There's decline, incline, and fly bench. So anyways, that third exercise is a bench press. You're going to do 5 sets of 5 with 2 minute rest. And yeah, so after that, you'll do a overhead shoulder press. So similar to the other one. But just make it different. So like if you did a dumbbell shoulder press on the first one, then you could do like a machine press on this 5th exercise. On the 4th exercise. I'm sorry about that. On the 5th exercise, you're going to do some form of tricep pull down, tricep press down, depending on what you're doing. You can do, normally that's going to be done on a cable machine. If you absolutely don't have access to a cable machine, that's okay. You can do some form of like a skull crusher. You can do tricep extensions, like bend over on a flat bench and do a tricep extension that way with a dumbbell. And that tricep press down or whatever variation you choose, you're going to do 4 sets of 6, 2 minute rest. So that's your first day of the 3-day split. Then the second day is going to basically all be legs. It's just a leg day. Obviously, in my opinion, you should throw in abs every day, or maybe alternate on your off days. Like if you're doing a 3-day split in the gym with this, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the gym, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you're doing like abs and stretching and cardio at home or in a park or whatever. But anyways, this second day is all legs. So you're doing, I'm going to just list them real quick. So you're doing a calf raise, leg press, glute bridges, or hip thrust, either way. Going to do a barbell back squat or a hack squat. And then, sorry for the click. Seated calf raise. So 2 different variations of calf raise. So you can do like a standing calf raise and a seated calf raise, or, if, we used to do it's kind of old school training technique, but if you actually don't have any weights or a specific calf raise machine or anything like that, you can have somebody, you can hinge at the hips and have somebody sit on your lower back right above your butt. So those are called donkeys or donkey calf raises. And yeah, so that's a impromptu thing that people tend to make fun of you about, but it does work, and it loads a lot of weight directly above your calves. So altogether, calf raises, you want to, in my opinion, you want to spam calf raises because your calves, you walk all day, you're walking around, running around, jogging, whatever, anything you're doing. Even if you're sitting at a desk, I mean, you're doing some sort of movement with your feet normally. So, your calves are used to like an immense amount of work. So you're going to be spamming the calf raises. You want to try and avoid tendonitis or any type of inflammation. So if you ever feel in any sort of like intense warm sensation within like your Achilles tendon or something like that, then that's a sign you should take a break. But all together with both variations of calf raises, you should be doing like 6 sets of 8, in my opinion, taking a 2 to 4 minute rest. And so that's for both of those exercises. So you can warm up with calf raise, you can end the day with calf raises. After you start the day with the calf raise, you can do that. I call them hip thrusts. I mean, there's different names, different variations, but you see them on TikTok all the time. Basically, you find some way to pad the bar so you don't grind your hip bones to dust with the bar. But yeah, you basically put it in the crease of your hip, and you're literally thrusting the weight upward. You can do this for lighter weights. You can do this with dumbbells. You can do this with plate weights. Most of the time, what you see is somebody using a barbell with some weight on it, because you can actually do quite a bit. But you want this to be very controlled. You want, I'm going to say, my notes say 2 sets, but I would say 3 sets of 6. With a 3 to 4 minute rest, because you should be doing it pretty heavy. Then you'll do that variation of squat. Like I said, you're going to 5 sets of 5 with 2 minute rest. That's pretty good. You definitely want to have a spotter. You're going for strength, so you're trying to do a heavy volume, heavy amount of weight. If it's, I'm not even going to throw out a number. If the weight is enough for you to be considering it heavy, you should be definitely wearing a belt, a weight belt. You should be doing some form of knee sleeves or knee wrap, most likely knee sleeve. And yeah, so okay, yeah. So then, and have a spotter. Do a spotter. Then you're going to go to leg press. You're going to do the 4 sets of 6. If you're feeling really good and not very tired or whatever, I mean, if you're not very tired, you didn't do enough weight on your previous exercises. But if you're feeling really good, I mean, you could do 6 sets of 6 on leg press and just really go deep, really feel it in your lower part of, or I don't know where the hamstring ties in to your glute. So anywhere between 4 and 6 sets of 6 with a 2 minute rest as well. You're going to finish the day out with that seated calf raise. You can throw in some abs, you can whatever. Definitely this should be like a high protein days and a lot of rest afterwards, because that's heavy leg day. Third day, you're going to hit, it's basically going to be kind of like that back and bicep split that I talked about previously. You're going to do a couple bicep exercises and a few, back few back. Sorry, I spaced out. But notes here say 2 bicep exercises, 3 back, but I'm going to go 3 and 3. So the way I like to do it is a warm up with like a bicep, one of the bicep exercises. So you can do, I'll do a bicep curl. It can be a regular dumbbell. It can be, you can involve bands, like it's called a banded bicep curl, some form of bicep curl, even if it's like a preacher curl, anything like that. I would say do 2 sets of 6 to 8 heavy weight, 3 to 4 minute rest in between rep, and then you're gonna hit the back. I'd say 3 sets of 6 of like a wide lat pull down. That'd be pretty good. You want to really control this. You want to definitely incorporate your bracing and your breathing and leaning back slightly, pulling it to your chest. And a lot of people have trouble incorporating their lat muscle, or, getting that mind muscle connection. And I've said it previously, but pretend like someone is about to tickle you really fast in your rib area. And you know how you kind of tighten up and you almost do like a side bend to protect that area. That is the same way you are activating your lat when you do a lat pull down. So, yeah. And then you're going to do some form of row. This can be a T-bar row. I grew up doing T-bar rows in the football gym, but whatever, any type of row, 5 sets of 5, 2 minute rest. And then try and do some form of, what I really like to do after the T-bar row is do like, the seated cable row, if that's available to you, or you can do some form of like a neutral grip, vertical pull down, maybe or even a narrow grip pull down, but 4 sets of 6 on that, 2 minute rest. Then you're going to finish out the exercise. You're going to really like this, especially if you like a pump. I'm going to say you're going to superset a dumbbell bicep curl. Unless you've already done the dumbbell bicep curl, then maybe do a preacher curl or some form of machine bicep curl, whatever. Do the bicep curls, 4 sets of 6, 2 minute rest, but in between each one of those sets, superset it with a hammer curl. So that's really going to hit your brachialis, and you're really going to see crazy pump and a lot of growth in your bicep. So that is, I'd keep it equal, but both of those do 4 sets of 6. So just as an example, dumbbell bicep curl, 1 set of 6, and then immediately hit the hammer curl 1 set of 6. I would take more of like a 3 to 4 minute rest on that, and then hit it with another superset. Take another rest, another superset, take another rest, another superset. Then you take your final rest, get a bunch of water in you, any type of supplementation that you do, preferably a protein shake directly after. If you're not going to be consuming a meal or a high amount of protein within the next 30 minutes or 45 minutes, I would go ahead and hit a protein shake. Especially since this all should be pretty heavy weight. But also you just, especially on day 2, you did your legs pretty good. So anyways, you're going to want to consume some protein ASAP and lots of water. So before I get into the 4-day split and the 5-day split, I am going to touch base on fluids, specifically water. So the kind of rule of thumb, and it does vary, but rule of thumb is half of a fluid ounce per pound of body weight. So as a man, if you're 180 pounds, roughly try and consume 90 fluid ounces of water. And it varies based on how much you sweat and how much cardio you're doing per day. So I say those separately because some people just naturally sweat more in the gym or on a day-to-day basis. And the cardio obviously is going to accentuate that, but keep those things in mind. Roughly half an ounce per pound of body weight. That goes for men and women. And that's water. So you can consume other fluids, but yeah. Anyways, back to the splits we were talking about. So, for the 4-day split, it's going to be almost exactly like the 3-day split, except you're going to start off with a leg day for day 1 and then start that 3-day split. So it'd be, basically same amount, like 6 exercises of legs, preferably hitting calves twice, 2 to 5 reps, depending on the exercise. I'm sorry, 2 to 5 sets, depending on the exercise, and almost always, I'd say 6 reps. On the calf raises, you can go up to 8. Once again, this is all heavy weight, and you're going to be doing a 2 to 4 minute rest on that first leg day. Now, yeah, that sums it up. So just add an extra leg day before the 3-day split I just explained, and that covers the 4-day split. For the 5-day split, you're taking the 4-day split and you're adding an additional workout to like an extra day to the end of the 4-day split. So it basically goes day 1, legs, day 2, shoulder, chest, and a little bit of back, day 3, legs, day 4 is going to be arms, back, shoulders, and then day 5 is what you're adding. And so you're going to do like a tad bit of back, and mainly a lot of shoulders and tricep, because the previous day was, when I said arms, the previous day was biceps. So on the 5th day, you would do triceps, shoulders, and like incline bench, or like a mid-cable chest fly, or both. Honestly, I would do both. So what I have written here is a machine row to start, then a machine shoulder press, then incline dumbbell bench press, or incline barbell bench press, either one. And then I have written or mid-cable chest fly, but I would actually say and maybe do like a superset of the incline bench with like a incline fly, basically. But really with the flies, you want it controlled. You want the form really good, so you're not hurting your shoulders, and you really want to squeeze when you get close to the end of the move. Like when you're if it's dumbbells, when the dumbbells are nearly touching, you really want to squeeze the inside of your chest. Anyways, so then you would do like a dumbbell shoulder press, dumbbell lat raise, and then like a tricep pull down, like with the rope attachment. I like that. And then you get to the end of that movement, and you always make sure and really flare out that rope. and you're going to be hitting that tricep really well. The first 2 exercises were like 2 sets of 8. The rest were four sets of 6 to 8. And once again, 2 to 4 minute rest in between reps. And that about sums it up. It's pretty straightforward. You're basically, and that's a good way to progress as well. So going from beginner to advanced, or advanced to expert, or whatever you want to call it, you're really just increasing volume, maybe changing exercise variations a little bit, but you're also just adding more work. So like you're going from a 3-day split all the way up to a 5-day split, and none of these splits include cardio, stretching. I didn't touch too much on abdominal work, going over bracing, or any type of movement corrective exercises or injury prevention exercises. So you can see with all that stuff I listed, I'm not trying to make it more complicated or convoluted, but those are things that you can add in to make your workouts either more and more intense, or just more involved, to where some people do the 3-day split as far as gym work goes, like I said, but then they're doing like, on their off days, one day they're doing yoga, and then another day they're doing like a full hour-long HIIT workout, HIIT, high intensity interval training. So basically what I'm saying is more work equals more work, I guess. It's always best, as far as this goes, to go with your gut. If you start off at 3 days per week and you're like, well, I'm good. Like, as far as my schedule goes and how my body feels and everything like that, I can go from here. Then that's when you assess, your weaknesses, your strengths, things you want to improve on. Like, honestly, if you're feeling good with your schedule and the way your body feels with a 3-day split, but you're like honest with yourself and you're like, my bracing sucks, or my deadlift form sucks, then maybe add a 4th day where you just focus on those things, your deadlift form, your bracing, your breath control, injury prevention exercises, or things to kind of like get the soreness out, and then go from there. And once you feel comfortable, you're like, okay, now I'm going to add a full 4th day of exercise. And now that I've got my deadlift down and I've got, I'm feeling good, doesn't always have to be adding a whole extra day of gym work. So I think I about covered everything. I greatly appreciate y'all. If you've stuck around this long, I'm assuming you liked the episode. The number one way to help me out, help the podcast out, is to share it with a friend. Whether it's this episode or a different episode, share it with a friend. I'm just trying to grow the audience so that I can help as many people as possible. Like I said previously, the website is live. That's wayoflifepodcast.com. There, I have now added a blog section. So each one of these episodes is going to have a blog with it. It's going to have similar information, but in a different format, but also, worded differently, and it's a whole different piece of content to consume. So feel free to check that out if you want to read up more on this. And every episode has transcription as well. So if you know someone that is hard of hearing or could benefit from that, there is a transcript for this now. So that is the news for now, I guess. Share it with a friend. I will talk to y'all later. and y'all have a great week. All right, bye.